Writing a book is hard. Making real money from it is even harder. In this episode, I'll show you how to add affiliate offers to your book so it drives more revenue and creates long-term passive income. If you're ready to take your affiliate program and your business to the next level, well, you're in the right place. I'm Matt McWilliams, best-selling author and 4-time Affiliate Manager of the Year, and I've built dozens of affiliate programs from the ground up to over $1 million a month. I'm here to show you how you can do it too. Let's get started. So trust me, I know the effort that goes into writing a book. If I knew what went into writing a book before I started writing books, I honestly don't think I would have done it. You know, there are easier ways to make money. I have now written, I've been a part of other books. Like where I've written a chapter, that was pretty easy. I wrote the chapter, it took me an hour, 3, sent them a chapter, and then it was in the compilation book, right? That's a pretty easy lift for me. But, I wrote Turn Your Passions into Profits back, that released in 2023. I actually wrote it in, 2021 and 2022. Just released the book on affiliate management, affiliatemanagementbook.com, by the way. Depending upon when you're listening to this, there may still be some pretty awesome bonuses available if you get it right now. But that book just came out. That is even longer than Turn Your Passions into Profits. It is everything you could possibly imagine for affiliate management in one book. And that took me, probably 150 hours. I've written now 4, 5, 6 children's books. And when I say children's books, I don't mean like, cardboard books with pictures where there's 8 words in the book. I'm talking like 35 to 45,000 word books. These are fiction books that teach principles, lessons. By the way, if you're interested if you have an audience for those, please reach out to me at 260-217-4619 because these books are absolutely going to change the world. These are books that are teaching amazing principles, life principles from other books like How to Win Friends and Influence People. And we've got some amazing partners that we're working with to take their books and turn them into books that 10 to 15-year-olds will read. So there's those. I'm writing a book right now, also a fiction book. It's called One Last Round with Dad. And, it's, so I'm writing all these books, right? And it's hard. Over 100 hours each time writing the book. And you say, well, what about AI? No. We're really not there yet. And not if you want a book that is truly going to impact people. And people might be like, well, did you use AI in Turn Your Passions into Profit? No, because it didn't exist then. My book came out like a couple of months before ChatGPT came out. What about the book on affiliate management? Did you use it there? Yeah, I used it to take a sentence that I could not figure out how to word in a proper way and like, hey, give me 5 ideas for this. Boom, I really like that one. Well, I kind of like that part of that one plus this one. But as far as writing the book, if you write a book with AI, you can tell that you wrote the book with AI. That is just the reality of it. And I'm not even talking about the obvious things like EM dashes and whatnot. I'm talking about like it just doesn't read right. Fiction, we are not there. Trust me, I know people who've tried. Their books kind of suck. There still has to be a human element. And so I would say with like my fiction books, it's 90% human. 10% is like, hey, help me brainstorm some ideas to bridge this paragraph and this paragraph. I give you a great example. The other day, as I was writing One Last Round with Dad, I think I'm on chapter 9. There'll be about 24 to 28 chapters in the book. So I'm about a third of the way through it. And there was this part, I was really struggling with how to handle this flashback. There's a particular scene where the dad and the son are talking and I want the son to be taken back to this moment in the past. And I just could not think of how, it was coming out of the flashback, how to transition from the flashback back to reality. And AI really helped me with that. So that's a great use of AI. And that's not what this episode is about. This episode is all about the fact that the reality is that books don't make a lot of money because you spend, 100 plus hours writing it, you edit it, you format it, you get a cover, et cetera, et cetera. It is very expensive. And so books just don't make a lot of money. They don't make nearly enough money in and of themselves to be worth it.
Now we all know that, yeah, does it give you reputability? I think that's a word. Authority, yeah. Does it position you as the expert? Yeah. Is it fun in the sense of like, I can't wait to hold this thing. I've never held one of my courses. I can't hold my course. I can't hold No Product, No Problem. I can't hold Find Affiliates Now. Like, they're not tangible. I get to hold my book, and I can't wait until when I get that first copy, like probably in October, and I unbox it. I'm telling you, it is going to be nothing short of a spiritual experience. But they don't make a lot of money on their own. So they lead to things. But one of the ways that you can make some money initially, right away, is through affiliate offers. And I want to share how to do that in this podcast. So I had a guy, Jonathan Hyde, reach out to me and said, what's the best way to promote affiliates with a book? This is such an overlooked area of monetization within books. I almost never see it done. I mean, I can't even think of a single book that I've seen it done in that wasn't a client of ours. Our clients do this. The things I'm sharing today, these are things we share with our clients. They do these things. Almost nobody else does. And I mean, I've read or listened to over 100 books in the past 2 years. Not a single one of them did this. Actually, except for one. There's one that kind of did it well, now that I think about it, and he's not a client. So 1 out of 100. And I give him he's like a half out of 100, But it's inevitable, if you think about it, that if you're writing your book, you're going to mention your favorite tools. I'm reading through the manuscript. I'm on page 117 of I think it's 288 or 298. I don't remember. I'm on page 117, and already I've probably mentioned 7 or 10 things that are affiliate related, that are affiliate offers. And that's not just because I'm in affiliate marketing. These are just the tools. Like, I'm mentioning them in normal conversation. Like, if I read you the paragraph that I mentioned them in a conversation that I'm having with you, it wouldn't feel unnatural. It wouldn't feel unnatural. So you're going to mention things. And I want to share 6 ways to monetize a book with affiliate offers. The first way is your recommended tools in the book, right? So you're answering the question, what do you use? What do you use and why? So you're saying, here's what I use and why. So having a page or a couple of pages at the back of the book that covers the tools that you use. And so the key here is, that you reference this throughout the book. I'm doing this with mine. Hey, I talk about this thing and I say, I'll give you an example. I talk about, email marketing. And I say, my recommended email providers are at the resources section in the back of the book. The key with this is you don't want to just make a list of products and then have the links. You want to put some extra effort by not only listing what you use, but why you use it. Right? So just a very quick synopsis. Like I talk about, in my book, I mention Asana. And I just write a very quick thing like, this is the tool that we use. It's my favorite project management, and task management tool out there. It's easy to use, makes collaboration and delegation super easy. You can start with the free version, which has worked for us for more than a year. Here's the link. I talk about Slack. This is the only tool that we use as a team to communicate with each other. So we've eliminated, email chains, random text, forgetting to copy someone. It's our go-to communication tool, right? And again, you can get started for free. So make sure you make a compelling case for why your readers should check out the tool that you recommend. So using that recommended tools page, you can put it in the back of the book, is a great way to do that. Now make sure you follow the principles of a good resources page, okay? So if you want to learn how to put together a resources page, the same principles apply to a resources page inside of a book. Just go to mattmcwilliams.com/resources page, and you can download my guide to how to put together a resources page. You will follow basically the same principles as you would in the book. The one exception that I talk about on a good resources page online, you want images. You want a logo or some sort of representative image. You don't want to include that in a book. It just takes up too much space. And especially if you have a publisher and you've got 20 things, it's going to take up a lot of space. It's going to be like a 6-page long thing. I don't want to personally use MySpace that I have in the book. When I have a limit, we have a word count limit, but I also have a page limit with my publisher. I don't want to take up an extra 3 pages just for a couple of images. So, people are in reading mode there. So that's the one exception. So when you go download that report, just ignore the part about images, but follow all the other principles. They totally work. Make sure you use pretty links. That's another one. Nobody's going to type in your 8,000 character long affiliate link into their browser. Just, mattmcwilliams.com/ConvertKit. for example, right? If you're looking at ConvertKit. All right, the second way to use affiliate offers inside of a book is to offer an extended study. So this is something I do a couple of times in the book. I don't do it a lot because it just didn't fit, but I say, hey, I touched on this subject. If you want to go deeper, check out blank, right? So you're giving in a book, you might touch on a subject. You're given a 30,000 foot flyover. You go, 2 layers deep when the real subject is 7 layers deep. But the reader wants to go deeper. They want to take their learning to a whole nother level, right? And that's where affiliate links come into play. So for example, I talk a little bit in the book about product launches, but I don't go into detail because that's a whole book in and of itself. Jeff Walker's book, Launch, and his course, Product Launch Formula. We're getting ready to go through it as a team. And I looked up, that course is like 50 hours long. I can't write a book about it and include it in my book. I'm also not the leading expert on it. So I point them to Jeff Walker. I say, hey, here's a little bit about product launches. If you want to, go deep, go learn from Jeff. Hey, as you're building your online business, you may want to start a membership site. I'm going to give you a little bit of information about membership sites, but I'm not the expert on that. I can't write 300 pages right now. This book would be 3,000 pages long. So I say, go learn from Stu McLaren. And so then, if 1 out of 200 book buyers, goes over to Jeff Walker and purchases PLF, I make roughly an $800 commission. That's $4 a book extra I made. Even if I only convert 0.25% of the book buyers, then I've made an extra $2 a sale. All right, the third way that you can work affiliate offers into a book is to what I call the how I learned it, right? So you might go in depth into something, probably still not fully in depth, but you write thousands of words about something, and then you say, hey, I became an expert at this thanks to blank. Check out blank's stuff here. Again, going back to, Jeff Walker. I say that in the book, like, hey, I feel like I'm an expert at product launches. I'm one of probably the 100 or 200 best experts in the entire world at product launches. You know why? Because I've studied everything from Jeff. His product launch formula literally opened the door for me to do what I do today. Now, the thing is, I position that as, I am an expert. I can teach you a lot about it. But if you want to learn from my mentor, go learn from Jeff. You want to hear it straight from the horse's mouth. I'm not going to plagiarize his stuff. I'll teach you the basics and I'll teach you a few of the nuances that I've learned over the years, but go learn straight from him. Now, not only do I want to give credit where credit is due, thank you, Jeff, right? But I also want to show people where they can learn the same fundamentals I've learned. So I link to his stuff and say, hey, if you want all the background, and you want to know the why, not just the little bit that I share with you, go learn from Jeff. So in the book, I say, Jeff Walker literally invented the formula that is now so common in product launches. You may think that you can reverse engineer the process by watching other launches, but you can't. You can pick up some stuff, but you need the course. You need the course that gives you the solid framework you need to succeed. My team and I plan to regularly go through the course as a refresher. It's a significant investment worth every penny. And on that note, we're going through it as a team. As I'm recording this, 14 days from now, we're starting next week. So in 7 days, we start going through it together as a team. And then we're going to meet every week for an hour and discuss our biggest takeaways and ask questions and talk about how we might implement what we're learning in the course. So I was being serious when I say this will be the third time my team and I have gone through the course in the last 6 years. Every other year is what we're trending on that. So sharing how you learn something, it's a really, really effective way of driving traffic to affiliate offers because you're living proof that an offer actually works. You're living proof that what that person taught you actually works. So that's the third way. So just to recap so far, recommended tools, having a page or two at the end of the book, kind of offering that extended study, like you touch on something, and then if you want to go deep, here's how to learn, and then the how I learned it, right? The fourth is just a casual mention. This is probably the most low-key way to promote affiliate offers in a book. Naturally, it's the least profitable, but it's worth it because it's just so easy. And I do this probably 10 or 12 times in the book. I mention a person and I mention a product and I just put a link. In an ebook, you can do the hyperlink, right? You could do footnotes. You could do a link in parentheses. So, in the book, for example, I just mentioned this a little bit ago, but I talk about ConvertKit And I just put in parentheses, mattmcwilliams.com/ConvertKit. That's all I put. I say a lot of people ask me, well, how do I set this up from a tech standpoint? And my recommendation is go sign up with ConvertKit, mattmcwilliams.com/ConvertKit, blah, 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 blah. I forget exactly how I word it. Now, you're not going to get a ton of activity on these links. I'm thinking I might get 1 out of every 300 to 400, people to click on that link. But it's so easy, so why not? What would be the point in not doing that? For one, if I want to go, I'm still going to include it in the back, but it's longer. If I want to drive people to ConvertKit, it's longer for me to say, I recommend ConvertKit, parentheses. There's a link to ConvertKit in the back of the book in the recommended tools section. Why not just put the link there? It's shorter, right? So just these casual mentions, are you going to make tens of thousands of dollars? Even if you'd have to sell a crap ton of books to make tens of thousands of dollars. No, but what if I make an extra 25 cents a book? We're going to sell hopefully between 20 and 35,000, pre-orders of the book. If that brings in an extra 10 grand, hey, that's kind of cool, All right. The fifth way is your bibliography or suggested reading. Basically, at the end of the book, I have a thing that says, hey, I recommend numerous other helpful books on the topic of starting an online business. For a full list, visit mattmcwilliams.com/books. If you're going to recommend other books, instead of having a bibliography in the back and making nothing, why not earn an affiliate commission? It's like, 28 cents on Amazon. Well, 28 cents times an average of 2.5 books times 1 out of 100 people that, buy your book, and whoopity-doo, you're making an extra quarter a book. Well, it could be an extra 10 grand. Why not? I always look at things in terms of like, if I can do something that simple and pay 1/5 of somebody on my team's, like an assistant's salary. If I do 5 of those things in this book, I've paid for my assistant's salary. How cool is that? In the ebook, the bibliography or suggested reading section can easily contain affiliate links. In a print book, you got to get a little creative though. So rather than providing a list of other books, like I mentioned earlier, you provide a link to your suggested books page. And then you create a suggested book page. That link I mentioned, mattmcwilliams.com/books, that follows the principles of the resources page that I mentioned earlier, but it's for books. It says the name of the book, it has a picture of the book and why I recommend the book, and then the link. So you follow the same things. If you go to that URL, you'll see how I lay it out, just mattmcwilliams.com/books. And you can actually, feel free to copy the way I do it. I don't care. Pretty basic format. And then number 6 is just recommended products from others. So this is not something that I do in my book, but we've done really well with some other clients where they're interviewing somebody for their book and they ask them for their recommendation of certain products and then link to them. So they say, something like, Jeremy recommends Focus at Will to improve your focus. Find out more at this link. And then you provide the link to them. It's a great way to avoid author bias and get kind of a neutral recommendation, right? And then you make money from products that you might not be the expert on, but somebody else did the recommending. That's kind of cool. So if you interview people, or if you can even be just quoting somebody, in the book, like you could find an article and so talked about such and such and recommends this product and you link to it as an affiliate. That's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool way. So again, number 1 is those recommended tools. Make sure you go check out, this applies for what we'll talk about in a second, number 5, the bibliography as well. But make sure you go download that report, mattmcwilliams.com/resources page, and learn how to put together a resources page. You can also use that to put together a recommended books page. Number 2, that extended study. I touched on this little bit of a topic, but if you want to go deep, check it out here. How I learned it, sharing how you learn something that you share in your book. That casual mention, just parentheses, very easy. Talked about it just a moment ago, the bibliography/suggested reading. And then 6, recommended products from others, maybe that you interview. Like books can be a great way to promote affiliate offers if you do it right. So 6 ways, hopefully, to maybe even double what a book is worth to you. Now, I got a great question about this when I was doing a presentation recently, and I'm going to, for authors, and I want to share my answer here. lady asked, how do you handle affiliate disclosure in book form? That's the part that always trips me up. On a website, it's sort of normal and more expected, but it feels like one of those moments in a book for some reason. Now, number one, depending upon when you're listening to this could change. So we're talking about the disclosure of material connection is what the Federal Trade Commission here in the United States says. So my first advice is go to the FTC. Just Google disclosure of material connection, FTC. Read what they say specifically about this because it might change in 7 minutes. I might record this and release it and it's already been changed. Now, my personal answer based on what I've studied and full disclosure, I'm not an attorney. I did not stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. Is that you need to include a disclosure in your book. Now, I would recommend making it obvious. Put it in the beginning as like an author's note or something. Don't try to bury it. It's not going to affect sales. They already bought the book. It's not going to lower trust. It's actually going to increase it. So you might just literally put it at the very beginning of the book. You talk with your publisher. If you're self-publishing, figure that out. But something like, note, some of the links in this, book I forget how we worded it, might be affiliate links. That means if you click on them, I make a commission that, however, does not impact my recommendation of, said product, et cetera, right? You might put it on that resources page in the back. But based on what I read, if you put it at the beginning, you put it where there's more than one link. You don't really have to put it after every single link. That would be ridiculous. It just clogs up the book and makes it kind of sound stupid. So hope that helps on that. Again, ask the FTC though, seriously. Legally, I have to say that, don't take my word for it because it might have changed. So again, 6 reasons how to work work affiliate marketing into your books. Guys, I got to tell you, I'm super excited about my next episode. It's the first interview I've done in quite some time. And there's a reason why I even decided to do it. It's because I've got my good friend Chandler Bolt on. And we're going to talk about affiliates in books, how to write, publish, and sell your book is coming up in the next episode. And I'm really excited about that. So make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet so you don't miss that episode and some awesome, awesome episodes coming up. I've got one. I'm just going to tell you guys, I'm going to talk about the worst part of our business. And I would be willing to bet that it will surprise every single listener. It's going to shock you. What is the worst part of our business? If you think you might know, hit me up on social media and let me know what you think the worst part of our business is. I'm going to tell you, it's going to shock you guys. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any episodes. Also, if you know somebody who would benefit from this, hit the share button, or just tell them like, hey, you got to go listen to this episode. I know you're one of the 81% of the population that says they want to write a book. Well, here's how to make twice as much money on it. So have them go listen to this episode and tell them to hit subscribe as well so they learn everything that's coming up. So with that, we'll wrap up. And I will see you in the next episode.
Thank you so much for listening today. Remember to check out all of our deep dives into affiliate marketing at theaffiliateguide.tv. And if you have a question, ask it at asktheaffiliateguide.com. Who knows? Maybe you even be featured on an upcoming episode. And lastly, if you haven't yet, make sure to leave a rating and review wherever you're listening to this episode. See you soon.